Happy New Year! Hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Yarnflakes Podcast. My name is Audrey and this is a podcast mainly about knitting but also some weaving, yarning in general. Welcome to everybody. I hope you all had a lovely holiday and that your year is starting really well. I just got back from Romania where I spent a few weeks with my boyfriend, and yeah, this is my first episode of 2018. So, Happy New Year, everybody! All the good wishes and luck for the upcoming 12 months. I want to thank everybody for watching and subscribing over the holidays. I noticed that there was quite a few new people around, so thank you, welcome. I hope you enjoy this week's episode. I have quite a lot of making to show you, actually, more than I thought I would. So I will have a few knitting, finished objects and new cast-ons, and I have a little bit of cross stitch as well as bobbin lace. Yep, I wasn't doing enough different crafts yet. I also plan on doing a little bit of a yarn show towards the end of the episode and a recap slash plans for the future. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about what I did last year and what I plan on focusing on for 2018. Timestamps to all the different sections of the podcast will be in the description down below, so if you want to skip anything or jump to any particular segment, feel free to do so, and you will also find links to everything that I talk about and my social media, Instagram, Ravelry, and my Etsy shop. I look awfully tired and like I have the worst dark circles ever, which I do anyway, but it's mostly because of the light, which is a bit uncertain today, so it's making me look very, very yellowy pale, but I'm okay. And I think we can start with some knitting. And first I want to show you what I'm wearing. This is my pavement sweater, which is the pattern by Vera Välimäki. Vera, I suppose she's supposed to say in Finnish. And I had finished it on my last episode of last year, but I wasn't wearing it, so I thought I would show it to you worn. I've worn it quite a lot over the holidays. I really like it. It's comfy, it's soft. I knitted it out of Malabrigo sock in the Pocion colorway. And yes, like I said the other time, I believe I did, the neckline is a bit more open than what I would like, and oh look, there's a man poking out. But yeah, I guess it's more of spring like garment. It's fingering weight anyway, and yeah, let me try to stand up. So it has a bit of positive ease, but not too much. It's just comfortable, how I like it, and it has a curved hem. I'm just trying to shove my hip into the camera, but it doesn't seem to want to cooperate. So there are some worn pictures of it on Instagram if you want to have a look. And yeah, the color makes it. It's just it's totally accurate. Weirdly enough, it's just my skin that's suffering from a yellowification, but the color is great. No need to spend 10 minutes on a sweater I've already talked about, especially when you have 3 finished objects. So I want to start with the project that I was knitting on during the holidays. So I spent a little bit more than 2 weeks over there at my boyfriend's, and I didn't want to bring 3-4 skeins to make socks, So I decided that I would knit on a shawl instead. And to be honest, that was kind of a mistake because I finished the shawl really quickly, even though I actually was knitting slowly and taking breaks. Yeah, I think that next time that I go over there, I'm gonna set a little bit bigger and maybe try to bring a sweater and a sock to have something to alternate. Because just knitting on that shawl, yeah, I finished it quickly and then I was a bit, I don't know what to do. So yeah, that wasn't a very good project management. Nevertheless, I am really happy that I picked this particular shawl. This is the behind the scenes shawl, which is a pattern by Helen Kennedy. And it's a really easy knit, but at the same time, it has this interesting texture panel, which is really quick to do, but it's still a bit engaging, which makes it maybe more interesting than just a full-on garter shawl. So you start at the point here with your first color. The pattern is really easy to adapt depending on how many yarn you have, how much yarn you have, because you can increase or decrease the first section. And had I known that, I knew that, I just had to read, but I was a bit unsure whether I had enough yarn, and it turns out I had much more than necessary. So I had a lot of leftovers, which I will talk about in a minute. But yeah, I just did the dimensions that are written in the pattern, but I could have made it bigger, even though I'm quite pleased with how it is right now. It's it's a smaller shawl than what I usually do, so a little bit better for spring. Let me stand up. So you see it's not going too long, I can only wrap it once. And yes, so yeah, it's basically garter and that texture which incorporates the two colors. So try and make sense for once, Audrey. You start with this garter section, you increase, and then you start the texture section by incorporating your second color. It's not color work, it's not brioche, I don't know what it is. I actually think it's a type of brioche. I don't know, I've already seen that pattern somewhere, and yeah. It's really easy to do. It looks a bit messy at first. When I did the first few rows, I was like, oh, it doesn't look like anything. But after a while, and especially once it's blocked, you completely see where it's going. Especially since I am using speckled yarn, not heavily variegated, but still there's a bit of change, and it still works really well, so I'm quite happy. And then you go on with your second color until you want, and then there's a lovely I-cord bind off, which makes me regret that I didn't think of adapting the pattern to have an I-cord edging, because especially on the texture section, the border is not that pretty. So it's elastic, so it was nice and all, but yeah, I wish it had an I-cord all over, and it just makes me think that I really need to not refuse to modify the patterns when I'm following a pattern. If I think I want this, then I should try to do it. But yeah, this was a holiday project. Just not, yeah. Yep. The yarns that I used are beautiful yarns by Black Elephant, which is a UK dyer. It looks like I'm either sponsored by her or harassing her, because every other picture on my Instagram I have to tag her because it's yarn from her. If you're watching, Petra, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is her Peachy Secret colorway, which is a beautiful, the color is pretty accurate. It's more pink. It looks too cream, but it is pinkish peach with ochre speckles and brown and it's purpley brown. And then the second color is Silence, and it's really beautiful. It's this eggplant purple with specks of teal, and I would wear a sweater like this, and it made me think that I don't usually gravitate towards purple because, especially with my black hair, it's I'm channeling my inner Kristen from Woolen Vine here. But yeah, I do like purple. This kind of purple, not the pink purple. You say violet and purple, and I don't know which is which. In French, we just say violet for either, and we kind of have to specify it's the pink purple or it's the blue purple. But yeah, I never remember which is which. I guess it's purple and violet is pink, or it's the other way around, because violet is the flower and the flower is blue purple. Never mind. It isn't important. But yes, not much to say about it. I think it's a great solution if you have two skins that are somewhat contrasting and you want something that's simple but still has a pretty thing to it. So yeah, squishy. Very happy with it. Making pink things is probably the only way that my mother won't dig into my basket of shawls. I saw her this morning. She took my gather shawl, and I almost ran at her being like, don't take this one and the other shawl that I'm going to show you, because I needed to show it to you. But she took the gather shawl. She was feeling blue this morning, but she doesn't like pink, so yeah, she wouldn't wear that. It's quite girly, I believe. Moving on. I had a lot of leftovers, like I said. I could have made the first pink section bigger, which would have resulted in a bigger shawl. In a way, I'm glad I didn't, because I decided to use the pink to cast on something. So I was browsing Ravelry, looking for something fingering weight that would be okay with singles. Oh yes, these are singles. God, these are singles yarns, and and I would use 130 meters. I didn't have a scale, so I wasn't sure how much I had left, but it was quite consequent. Like I had a ball like this left. So I decided to knit a headband, and you probably have seen it because it's quite popular. It's the Drej. It's a Danish word or Swedish or Scandinavian word, and I can't for the life of me remember how you're supposed to pronounce the O that has the bar in the middle. But yeah, it's this hairband, and it's in brioche stitch, and the pattern uses fingering weight double, but I didn't want to do that for whatever reason. My idea was, I still had more than a week over there at my holidays, and my idea was, if I double, it's gonna knit quicker, and I actually wanted it to be as long as possible. So I adapted it to only use one strand of fingering weight. I've written it in my project page on Ravelry. I just cast on 25 stitches instead of 17, just so that it would be the width that I wanted. And yeah, it's brioche, and I really like brioche. I'm happy that I picked this one, because look at that. It was really fun to do. You basically knit a band, and then when you reach somehow the middle of your head, you separate half of the things, which was a bit tricky for me because I had to measure. Well, not measure, because I didn't have a scale, I didn't have a tape measure. It was a nightmare. But But yeah, I had to separate the things to cross them. And the undermath of it is neater than you would think. But yes, so, and then you knit the other way and you seam the thing. You're supposed to mattress seam it. How do you mattress seam brioche? I didn't want to bother. So yeah, I'll try to put it on. Oh look, it's quite pretty if the twist is to the side. 2 hours later. I'm not retro enough to sport that style indoors, you know, kind of trying to do something with my hair and be like, I don't know if it would look better if my hair was longer. I don't think so, because it's like, you know, if it's 1920s, the girls are that type of hair. I don't know. I also kind of look like a cleaning lady, but, you know. Definitely for outside, instead of a hat, it's good, because, you know, it's brioche and it's quite squishy and it keeps my ears warm. So, yes. I think it's really pretty. That's also why I made it pink, for it to be cute and pretty. But yeah. What do you think? I have no idea how to style those things. Should I have bangs? I guess the girls who wear those types of things have bangs, and you know, when they make kind of an updo and with their bangs and the headband is on top of it. I don't know. But it's pretty. So, yeah. I have a third finished object, and if you remember, before the holidays, I had cast on the Boho Blush by Andrea Maury. And I finished it. So I came back, and that was, I believe, at the last section. And I had more than 500 stitches. Yeah, so of course I came back and I started casting on new things, and this was there with this massive amount of stitches and just a little bit of a last section to knit, and I pushed myself and I decided to finish it, and I'm so happy that I did because it's beautiful. So Boho Blush by Andrea Maury. It alternates garter sections with brioche, with this kind of fan type lace, and it has fringe, kind of a loose, really bohemian kind of fringe, not the thick, one of the Saturator, for example. But yes, I wanted to knit the shawl ever since she released it. It is beautiful. I almost did it as a gift. Then I decided that I would rather do it for me, because I wasn't sure if the fringe would work as a gift, and I know that I like fringe, and I believe that it needs the fringe, you know. Yeah, it is quite big. It's bigger than my wingspan. Yeah. Ooh. The yarn I used is a merino bamboo nylon blend that I dyed myself. It was one of the first yarns I dyed, and I believe I showed it on the first episode of this podcast, which you will not watch. Don't watch my first episode. Like, sometimes I get comments from people on like the first episode. Don't bother. Please. Just watch the new one. Anyway. And yeah, I did this kind of cappuccino coffee thing. And I wasn't sure, because it was very variegated and I had 3 fairly different skeins. I wasn't sure how it was going to show off the pattern, and I must say I am really happy and reassured. What I did is that I alternated the 2 darker skeins together for the garter and the lace, and for the brioche I used the lighter one, which I also use for the fringe. So overall it looks normal. It looks like it's done on purpose, that the brioche is lighter. And I think it looks really nice. It's drapey, I like bamboo. It's quite heavy, the fringe is not helping. And yeah, my one thing with this pattern is the edge. So you start at the top here, and you keep increasing, and she has you yarn over for it to not be too tight. It's still quite tight. I am happy that it didn't alter the shape of it. I was able to get a nice crescent shape despite the tight edge, but it doesn't look good. I mean, look at that. Plus I was alternating skeins. I just think it doesn't look good. It's tiny detail, because really when you're wearing it, no one cares about the edgery. So I now have a begging puppy right here, and if you keep doing that, I will put you back in the living room. My next project that I want to show you is a new cast on. I don't think I showed it to you. Just before leaving, I wanted to... I'm sorry if you can hear her. Yeah, you know how they breathe. I wanted to cast on something simple. Yeah, and... You better not pee on my carpet. I wanted to cast on something mindless, simple, and pretty. This is my most treasured yarn. It is, of course, Nomadic Yarns in the Molly Weasley colorway. And yeah, it comes from the States, so it comes from the States, so it's quite exceptional for me to be able to get Nomadic Yarns, but I really wanted this colorway, like everyone, of course. It's just, how many stripes is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 6 stripes. And I made a sock. I'm gonna do an afterthought heel, obviously. And I just kitchenered it last night. I just finished the first tube. I think it's long enough because my heel is probably going to be around here. So yeah, that's quite a nice leg, which is what I wanted, because when I'm doing such pretty stealth striping, I really want it to be as long as possible. I should have weighed it to see how much I have, but yeah, so it's just really beautiful arrangement of colors. It looks kind of Peruvian like, and I think it's really beautiful. 60 stitch on 2.25. I was using my short circulars, the higher sharps, which I'm not a massive fan of, but you know, just yeah, I just want to keep using them and see if it gets better. And yes, I don't know if I will cast on the second one just yet. I don't mind having those last a little bit, because I have some other small projects that I want to get on with first. So yes, these will not be ready quickly. Next up is something that I think I've showed you. Just the beginning, just the cuff, I think. It's my next sock design, and guys, it's my favorite so far. I am really proud of this. I love how it's working out. I love the yarn, and yes, so I finished one sock and I blocked it, and I think I can show you, because yeah, a little teaser. So let me try to, because it's a front texture thing, so I kind of need to flatten the front of the sock. But here it is. So this line is because it was blocked. So the yarn I'm using is the Sea Glass colorway by Black Elephant, and it is beautiful mint with specks of, again, yellow, blue, purple, red. It's great. And here is the design. So it's really easy to work. It's easy to read because you can pretty well see where you are and where your cable are supposed to be made. And yeah, it's this diamond shape with seed stitch inside and some more traveling stitches. I made the design both on the front and on the back of the leg. I did a heel flap and gusset. I will do instructions for a heel flap and German short row if you want to. However, and I will write it in the pattern, this is quite a tightening pattern, of course. Seed stitch cable. So if you want to make a short row heel, I would suggest that you pay attention to your gauge and or go up a needle size or make a bigger size stitch count than what you usually do, because you might not have enough room on the instep. I just did the heel flap and gusset, and yes, this is how it looks like. I love it. I would like to know what you think about it, because it's the favorite thing. Like I've only designed like 4 things, but I'm really really proud of this one. And I have several ideas for future design, and I think that this is one of the best things. I really really like it. It's simple to do, it's engaging, and it looks really effective. I really like geometric like things, in case you haven't noticed from my previous designs. But yeah, I did a rounded toe. Yeah, I really like it. I just need to knit the second one and finish up writing the pattern. So I do hope that I will be able to release it sometime this month. I am going to finish this as a priority. It just looks so good. I'm so happy with that. Yeah, and of course you can only make the front if that's what you want, but I thought that at the back of the leg it looked quite nice to have this little texture detail as well. And I just want to show you how the yarn knits up on the sole, so you can admire the beautiful colorway. These, I had a hard time finding out the perfect name for these, and I came up with something. These are the watering socks, because watery, like the minty bluish color, and seed stitch, plants, water plants, but yeah, don't ask. The watering socks. Yes. Nessie is so confused right now. Girl, what are you even doing? Yeah, get used to it. On to works in progress. You would have seen it in the previous episode. I started the Ginsberg cardigan, which is a pattern by Nora Gone, and it is one of the 38 sweaters that I want to make. And it's knit in a Narren/bulky weight, so I really need to do it now while it's still somewhat cold. You are not getting on the bed. It's my fault, really. I did the mistake once. Okay, twice. To take her on the bed. So, the Ginsberg cardigan. I did quite some progress. The thing is, this pattern is so engaging and interesting to work on that when I start, I'm just doing it for a very long run. And since it's knit in on 6.5 millimeter needles, which is a bit weird when you've spent a year almost exclusively knitting fingering weight, it's going really fast. Look, so it's an interesting shape, cape / cardigan. And you start with the back, so that's the back, and I am doing some shaping, so I will eventually finish at a point. So those are my decreases, and yeah, you're alternating sections of texture. You have stockinette, reverse stockinette, knit purl combinations, and then you have this wide rope-like cable going up. I really like it. It's really interesting to knit. I am really curious to see how the finished object is going to look like. I think I would wear it. I would wear pretty much anything, to be honest. But yeah, I am really eager to see if I am successful with it, and if it looks good, or if it's just looking like some sort of weird bulky thing. The yarn I'm using, is Drops Alaska, which is 100% wool. It's classified as iron, I think. It's really nice. When I swatched for this sweater, can you go snore a bit further? When I swatched for this, I had like not a knot in the ball that I swatched in. So, but I think that was unfortunate, just because I didn't have any more knots in the following skeins. Skein. It's actually a skein. So yes. I really want to work on this, but I should really finish my design first. And I have some other massive projects which I really need to make progress on. Share in a minute. But yeah, it's easy to do. You just need to focus to remember where you are. I don't like charts. I already told about it. It's charted, and it's knit purl stitches that are charted, so I'm like, oh, why? But it's still going pretty smoothly. I finished the first set of decreases. Now I'm going to decrease much faster until I reach a point at the back. Then you pick up from that edge, and you knit 2 fronts, and then you reunite to knit a ribbing and make a round, and then you seam, or you seam at the end. At some point you're gonna seam the sides, and then you have some edging for the arms. But yes, I love the color. It's this olive green, dark green. It's more olive than it looks like here. Here it looks like more foresty green, but not exactly that. I really like it. It's just pretty dark, so I really should be doing it during the day and when decent light is around, which is not the case these days. So the last knitting thing I have to show you is a new project again. It's a blanket. I want to make a blanket as a gift for a couple, and I thought, okay, what to offer a couple? A blanket. So it's going to take me quite some time, and I need to finish it by May. So I'm gonna have to focus a little bit on it, and I've already done okay. I decided to knit the chevron blanket, garter blanket. I don't know exactly the name. It's the pattern that Minna Phillip released. You know, she made a baby blanket for her baby Layla, and it looks really nice. So it's a garter blanket with a chevron type of pattern on it. So I decided to take that and just make it bigger, to make it a lap size adult blanket. I am using acrylic because it's a blanket, and the people I want to gift it to are probably going to want to wash it. And yeah, I've already gifted woolen things, and that was a big mistake. So I want to be a bit more careful with what I do, because I don't want things to be felted, because then the person feels awful and I feel awful, and you know. So acrylic for that one. I managed to find a nice acrylic. It is Phildar, which is the French, like your typical chain store yarn brand, and it's their Charly yarn. It's this one. So it's 100% acrylic. You can see that it has that typical shiny plasticky effect. However, it's not squeaky. Thankfully. This is what I don't like about acrylic, is how squeaky it is. And this one isn't. So I really appreciate that, because yeah, for blankets, toys, I want to use acrylic. I don't want to bother with the expense and trouble of using real natural fibers. Could use cotton, but I prefer to knit with acrylic than to knit with cotton, to be honest. So I am going to make 5 stripes of different colors. Let me try to show you the right side. So I've already knit the first stripe. This is how the pattern looks like. So you see it's this chevron thing. And I have 150 centimeters cable. Yeah, it's the biggest needle I ever think. So it's going to be a bit more than that. It's going to be probably 170 centimeters on that side. I might try to make it a square, or close to a square. I think I won't have enough yarn. I planned 4 balls of each colors, and I've already used 1.5 just for this, so I'll have to order more. It's really cheap, so it's fine. But yeah, so this is the lin color, which is the linen. It's linen. It's a beige thing. There you can see that, you know, it looks like an acrylic. I can see. But it feels really nice to knit with. It's not squeaky. And it's soft. And I did a swatch that I put in the washing machine, and it came out perfectly. So that's what I want. So I'm gonna make, like, this is one complete width that I want. Then I'm going to put this, it's carbon, which is this almost black yarn. I don't remember. I wrote it to be a specific sequence, and I forgot. I wrote it on Ravelry. Let me check. Beige, dark grey, cream, this beautiful copper. Can you please do that color in wool? Actually, I have it, and I will show you. And a lighter grey. This will be the stripe sequence. And yeah, I have 4 balls of each. I don't think it's gonna be enough. I might need like 2 more balls of each. I will see. I will knit everything that I have, and then I'll judge how much more I need depending on the size that I managed to get. I did 12 repeats width-wise, because I calculated that this would give me approximately 150 centimeters. I think I have a bit more. Now I'm knitting on 4.5 millimeter needles. This yarn is sort of a DK weight, and the pattern calls for worsted. But yeah, I just swatched, and approximately calculated the size that I wanted. And it's a really easy, mindless pattern, and yeah, I hope that I will be able to advance on it at a decent pace. Whew, that's it for knitting. That's quite a lot. I think this episode is going to be really long. I hope I won't have to split it into, but we'll see. I have some cross stitch to show you. During for Christmas, my boyfriend offered me a cross stitch kit from Little Bitch Hut, which is a UK-based designer of cross stitch and maker of kits. And yeah, it's this really cute. Let me grab it. I'm gonna have the glare a little bit. Yeah, it's this really cute pattern of a sleepy fox. And yeah, so I got the kit with all the pretty threads and everything. I hate crinkling, so just I'm gonna leave it here. And yeah, so when I finished my shawl, I decided to start working on it, and I didn't have a hoop or anything. So I decided to try and learn how to cross stitch without tensioning the fabric. It's Ida fabric, so it's alright. And it went okay. I much prefer tensioning the fabric, I have to admit. But it still worked. I'm sorry, it's a bit wrinkly because it was rolled for the transport. But this is what I have so far. Oh god. It looks like a bee. So picture ears here and the little nose here, and yeah. This pattern uses like half stitches. It uses a lot of outlining, but it uses half stitches. And I've never done them before, and I'm not quite sure I'm reading the pattern correctly. But I'm kind of winging it and trying to guess how things work. The thing is, I don't know. Sometimes I have the impression that, yeah, it looks like there's one color on half of the little Ida square and one color on the other side. But what do I do with the diagonal then? Do I do both colors? That's not possible because one is going to overlap the other. Do I pick one to be the dominant one? And all of that is outlined, so I kind of have a problem reading the pattern. But that's me, it's just because I'm a very big, cross stitcher. I've only ever done full squares, which I kind of prefer. But it still is interesting to try. Basically, it's to make like roundish shapes. And you can see that some of the fox body is a blend of two different DMC colors. And yeah, I have other cross stitch planned to finish, but once I will keep doing that, and I think I will have it finished quite quickly, because then you just have the leaves and some outlining. I enjoy doing outlining, so I think I will be okay with that. I hope so. But yes. Okay, so I have one last making things to show you, and it's a completely new thing. I don't believe I ever mentioned it on the podcast, but I wanted to learn how to do bobbin lace. Yes, bobbins. If you look it up on YouTube, it just looks really impressive and really pretty, and I like the look of bobbins. So yeah, I kind of wanted to learn how to do that, knowing that it won't be something as big for me as knitting, weaving, or spinning. But I wanted to learn how to do this. The problem is it's quite inaccessible. Because if you think knitting is weird, well, bobbin lace. Yeah, I never had such trouble finding resources online on how to do something. And yeah, the thing is that I found some French sources, because apparently it was something that was really popular in France. So yeah, I kind of had to mix things up between a few YouTube videos and some French videos. And the other thing is, you need a lot of bobbins. So if you don't know how it works, the thing is you have a template and let me show you. And you have bobbins that are wound in pairs, so imagine they're attached. And you're basically making knots. So it's quite similar to macrame in that sense. You're making knots by moving the bobbins in a certain way. And once you've made a knot, you pin it so that the thread stays trapped around the pin. And you do your whole pattern like this. And you need a ton of bobbins. And it's kind of hard because there are so little resources that you don't really know how many bobbins you need to make simple things. Bobbins are expensive. Bobbins are hard to find. It took me a very long time to find a godly Etsy shop that sold really affordable, nice bobbins, and I wanted them to be pretty, because sure, you can make your own bobbins with a pencil or something. I wanted them to be pretty because I really liked the look of those bobbins, and I thought that they would look nice arranged as decorations as well, like in a vase or something. So I wanted them to be pretty. And I eventually found vintage ones, which are these ones that are really big and heavy. So yeah, these ones I don't think you can get because they were used things. But I will link the shop where I got these. She has tons of different models, tons of different wood colors, and they're affordable. So I was really happy that I was able to get some. And I have 14 pairs? 14 or 13? I don't know. The thing is, you need pairs, and I think you need a minimum of 10. I used 10 pairs to make the basic thing that I'm going to show you. So yeah, you need a lot of bobbins. It's quite obscure how much you need. Why? What can you do if you have less? It's a bit of a nightmare. And then you need, what I wanted to do is bookmarks or ribbons, basically. With it, you can make doilies, you can make lots of different shapes, and you can make jewelry. But I wanted to make mostly bookmarks, maybe a ribbon to attach to the, the cuff of clothes if I want to, or to the neckline. I don't know. I just wanted to learn how to do it, really. And making a rectangular thing was the simplest thing to do. And yeah, there are some. I'm going to link the YouTube video that I followed. And then I found some other French website that were giving patterns, but they seemed like they were scanned from old books, so that it was really hard to see. Yeah, you basically need something that tells you where to put the pins, and when you have no clue what sign is what stitch, it's really complicated. So I had to do my own little template, copying the YouTube video that I will link. I think she has her template from a book, which I can't find, and I didn't want to buy a book because they're quite pricey books. But I really wanted to learn how to do Bobbin Lace. It's ridiculous. So I decided last Sunday, actually 3 days ago, that I was going to finally give it a try. And I did, and I made lace! I'm so ridiculously happy about it. I had no clue what I was doing. I followed the YouTube video, which is quite clear, to be honest, but when you're a complete beginner, you're always wondering, wait, am I doing that properly? But it worked! It worked! So I made my template, which was like just dots, basically. Wherever you see a knot, it was dots. I just used grid paper, which was quite wide. I don't know how I can, I guess I need to buy paper that has, like the ones you use at school for geometry thing, like the really thing with the millimeters, detailed square. So I did my template. I tried to do the zigzag template and I got it wrong. But anyway. And yeah. I didn't take any picture or footage of the process because it was so ridiculously dark last weekend. But yeah, if you look up the videos that I'm going to link, you will understand what I'm talking about. And it worked. I put hairspray lacquer on it at the end for it to set, and I let it a day with the pins, and it worked. I removed the pins and it just stayed like this, and it's really nice. So I have two types of stitches here. These are what are called hole stitches, and these are zigzags. So you're basically traveling from one point to another, making sort of a grid pattern. I think my thread is really fine for how wide my template was, but you know. I have a lace bookmark. I just think that, yeah, you know, even to decorate gift wraps or something, you can do pretty things. I made Bobbin Lace. So I'm not sure how frequently we will see Bobbin Lace on this podcast. I still want to do a couple more bookmarks, just to learn more stitches and play a bit more with it. This was quite fun to do. Just pinning the thing hurt my finger quite a lot because you need to push the pin down. So I now understand, you know, the knitters that push the higher sharps. I now understand your pain because I had to suffer through that as well. But yeah, I plan on doing another bookmark someday if I can find a pattern somewhere. And yeah, maybe I'll try to film a bit more of that and incorporate it in an upcoming podcast maybe. This is it for the making sections of this podcast. This is going to be very long. Yeah, I am still going to keep doing everything that I wanted to do. So let's continue with some yarn show. You know, it's the beginning of the year, so I thought I would indulge in showing you some pretty yarns. It's the yarny Christmas gift that I made to myself. And I cannot not share it with you because I'm so happy with it. I finally got yarn from the Rerum Natura, which is Latin, not French. So it's not French that you can pronounce, it's Latin. And nobody can pronounce it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's a French brand of yarn. Mostly wool. They're mostly known for their woolen blends, and yeah, I am really happy that this brand exists. What makes me more happy is that they're literally based an hour away from me, which means that I place the order, they ship it, I have it the next day. So I have been wanting to try some of the yarn forever because, yeah, you know, I love Holskarn. I think I would love Brooklyn Tweed and Quince if they were affordable. I always am attracted to woolly wools, you know, and when I see a French brand that makes breed conscious breed, conscious where the heck is it made, I love it. And so I am really happy that I was able to get the colors that I got, because I had these purchases planned for a while, but I was really wanting one specific color and it was out of stock, and over the holidays she got some new stock of those colors, so yes. So I got 2 sweaters quantity two sweater quantities. The first one, it's that color that I wanted. So this is Ulysse. I believe you're pronouncing it Ulysses in English, if I remember correctly, how you're saying James Joyce's novel. I think it's Ulysses. I am not sure anymore. Which is their sport weight, which I will knit at a DK gauge because it matches the gauge. I wanted this color. It is the color cyprès. Like, you know, it's the tree, like the Christmas type tree. And it's my favorite color. This is my favorite color. That's why my wall is this color. It's, yeah, a greenish teal blue deep jewel, and it's this color that was out of stock forever and ever until I saw it over the holidays, and I jumped on it and was like, yes, I'm gonna get it. So I got 6 balls of this, and I want to make the Carytown pullover that of course everybody has seen Katie from Inside Number 23 making it, and it's beautiful, and it's using a DK weight. I believe it's using Arbor from Brooklyn Twin, but the gauge match, so I'm going to knit it in this. It's woolen spun, so it's free with gauge. You can do whatever you want with gauge. So yeah, it is using French Alpine and Provence, which is South Merino from France, and some Black Merino from Portugal as well. And it's soft and pushy because it's woolen. It's just this. It's really, and the color is perfect. So I got 6 balls of this. I first ordered 5, and then I was like, I'm a bit short, because I didn't want to make the smaller size, and the Carytown pullover has a lower back, and I was thinking, oh well, maybe I won't be able to do that, but yeah, I got an extra ball just in case. So I have these, and then I have Gilliat, which is their worsted weight, and of course I got the caramel colorway. Everybody has the caramel colorway because look at this. It's kind of, There's a theme here. There's a theme. So I got it to knit the Caspian pullover. It's patterned by Jared Flood. Sorry. It's this beautiful sweater with a cable texture pattern on the top half. And so I got 5 balls. It's quite generous for a worsted. It's 100 gram and it's 250 meters. So I got 5 and I have plenty, and I really like this color. It's so beautiful. Both of those. I think I got my favorite colors. I didn't get everything in the same dye lot, but really, I can't tell a difference. I know it can be a trick and a trap. So I'll be careful, but I hope I won't have to alternate. Yeah. I want to finish the episode by making a little bit of a recap of last year and sharing plans for next year, because that's what you do at the beginning of the year. So 2017 was when I seriously started knitting. Yes, only that. I pretty much knew how to do most things. I've done scarves and a couple of sweaters and gloves and things in the past, but I was not really knitting that much. And yeah, I'm so happy that I did. I joined Ravelry in early February, I think. I knew Ravelry was here, but I was completely oblivious of how amazing it was. So I finally did it, and I'm so happy that I did. My yarn stash isn't, but never mind. So I have numbers here. Ooh, sorry. Kicking the tripod. Yes, I finally beaten my tripod, it seems, for this episode. So now my phone is on its tripod. So I hope it will stay there. I made 23 pairs of socks. I didn't participate in the box of socks things. Maybe I should, if I'm gonna make 23 pairs of socks. I don't think I will make as many socks in the upcoming year, because sweaters, even though I do have a lot of socks in my queue, a lot of patterned socks that I want to do, and also I like designing socks, so I will still make a lot of socks. I have to stop lying to myself. I made 8 sweaters. Pretty good, I must say. Considering I have about 20 sweater quantities in my stash right now, and they all have a project associated with them. Yeah, I think I will beat that. I hope so. I made 12 shawls. Some of them are gifts. Okay. Like 3 of them. So I still have 9 shawls. And some other small accessory. I'm sorry, I'm reading my numbers. So, yeah, that's how much things I made. I came back to the fiber arts by weaving. And on the second half of the year, I didn't weave that much. Almost not at all, actually, in the last 6 months or so. And I miss it. And I think I'm going to get back to it in the not so distant future. I have big plans. I want to make a massive wrap, and I want to make a blanket, and yeah, I want to aim my weaving into wearables a little bit, because I like making wall hangings, you know. So maybe you'll see one wall hanging popping out when I have the inspiration for it. But yes, I have plans for my rigid headloom. That's the thing. And I learned how to spin in 2016, but I did improve, I believe, my drop spindle skills during the last year. I also discovered that I cannot do it as much as I like. It provokes quite a bit of pain around my arm and elbow and shoulder. So that's quite sad. But it's not, because I ordered an electric spinning wheel from one of the electric eel wheel, the mini one. And the Kickstarter has ended for this. There was a Kickstarter for a miniature electric eel wheel. It's an electric spinning wheel, which is a mini version of Maurice Ribble's electric spinning wheels that are basically affordable electric spinning wheels. Thank you, we needed that. So I ordered one. The Kickstarter has ended. It has been founded at about 2 gazillion %. So yeah, is there a hole in my sweater? No, it's just a loose stitch. So it is planned for shipping in June. So hopefully this year we'll see the return of spinning yarn at full strength, because I really love doing it and I have so many ideas and so many plans. I have a ton of alpaca that I want to spin to knit a shawl with, and yeah, sock yarn. I want to spin sock yarn and knit socks out of it. Basically, with the spindles I cannot be productive, so I hope that this will change in the upcoming year with that electric spoon. So yes, plans for 2018. Sweaters. Clearly heavier weight sweaters. It's what you're mostly going to see, I think. I do have some shawls that I want to make, some special patterns, but not a lot actually. If you look at my Ravelry queue, it's ridiculous. It's just sweaters. But yes, sweaters. Designing. I want to keep designing patterns. I love doing it. I love every aspect of it. The actual creative figuring out, making things that look nice, and also the math of it. I always liked math, pure algebra, and figuring out geometrical stuff. And yeah, I haven't had a chance to challenge my brain in a logical. That doesn't make it. You know what I mean. If you're a knitter, you know what I mean, because when you knit, if you can't, if you don't have the ability to represent mental, logical consequences of your knowledge of how knitting fabric works and of how things are arranging themselves and how you need to calculate and grade. Yeah, designing is that to the next level, and I love it. Whenever I start writing out a pattern and I'm grading it for socks, I spend all day doing this because I don't see the time going, and I really need to figure things out for them to work before I do anything else. So I want to keep designing. I have a lot of socks ideas, and I also have this shawl that I have in my mind for months now, and I have the yarn for it. I asked a custom color to go with it. I know what I want to do. I know the stitch that I want to do. I just need to get on with it, and I think that spring will be the perfect time for me to start designing that shawl. But yes, I really want to design a bit more this year. Dyeing wise, I want to release more stable collections for the shop. Tonals are coming soon. Yep. And finally, I have some plans for this YouTube channel. I want to make different videos. I want to do things that will allow me to have a bit more fun editing wise. I really like editing, and editing this is nice and all, but it's not as fun as it could be. So yeah, I will talk more about it when it will be ready, but I already started doing things. So yeah, you will see different videos on this channel rather than plain podcasts, hopefully. I want to touch a little bit based on personal things. Not personal, but let's say non-making related plans and aspirations for 2018, because I want to keep talking and that episode isn't long enough, apparently. There's something I want to read more. I need to read more. It's ridiculous. I kind of want to learn how to read and knit at the same time, but so I bought a book stand from Amazon. It's not working. I managed to make it hold one smaller books, but it's not even then. It keeps popping the book out. I think, yeah, the book stands that I see are made for really thin booklets, or the musical partitions. So if you know a book stand that can hold real books, like books, and hold them open so that I can learn how to read and knit plain stockinette at the same time, would love it. I don't want a Kindle or a new reader because the books I want to read are not there. It must sound weird. If you're only reading in English, I guess that the catalog on ebooks is enough for you. But I read in French authors and authors from all around the world that are translated in French. I also occasionally read Spanish, and maybe I read really specific things. I don't think so, but I do notice quite a sustainable amount of times that the books I want to read are not available in an ebook format. And if it was just that, I would get those books physically and then get all the rest in digital form on an e-reader. But the thing is, ebooks are not much cheaper than real books. It's often just by a few euro cents. The ones that are really cheap are classics. Most of them I've already read, so sorry. So I don't need them. But yeah, why would I buy a digital copy for 8 euros if I can get the real book for 8 euros and 10 cents? I've seen a few times that the e-version was more expensive than the physical book. Of course, making an ebook, a digital version publication, is also work, but I'm not paying the paper and the printing and the transportation, so I don't understand why it's the same price, if not sometimes more. But anyway, so if you know a book stand that works, help, please help. But yeah, I want to read more. I want to work out. I've already been working out regularly since last September. I work out on and off. A couple of years ago, I worked out 6 days a week, 30 minutes every day for 6 months. And then I stopped and I started doing it. I want to do it consistently, but not be too pressured about it. I might pick up bullet journaling. This is becoming a stream of consciousness at this point, okay? I might pick up bullet journaling. I ordered a dotted notebook. If you think that I could be even more the cliche white girl thing, well, there's that. I don't know. I want to make pretty things. I already love notebooks, so I should like bullet journaling. I just want to keep track of things. Like how many times I've worked out, how many times what things I've read, what things I've done. Yeah, I want to write. It's kind of hard for me to talk about it, but I just feel awful not trying to write anymore. And I want to stop not trying. I really want to not feel that way again this year, if possible. So I might write. Yeah. Now I believe that I am done and that this episode must finally end. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing a little puppy. I hope you enjoyed all the things that I've made and my never-ending rants. This is going to be a pain to edit. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again next week. I am back to a regular schedule. So, yes. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day, night, and week. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.